But it was only when I dropped my trousers that she could actually say, "Oh, you're here already. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You can go away." Thank you for joining me for another whiskey review. We're back in Ireland. I said recently that I needed a palate reset. I had a bit of whiskey fatigue, and this Tyrconnell Single Malt was another one of those bottles which I used for that palate reset. I was highly surprised at how good this was. I'm going to come straight out and say it. It's quite a while since I would have had the Tyrconnell Single Malt. And it was early on in my whiskey journey. So we don't tend to dwell on those sort of things. We usually move on. And sometimes there's bottles stick with us. Sometimes we replace it many times. Obviously, this wasn't terribly memorable to me at the time, but I bought one recently. It was £35 a bottle. It's now closer to £40 to £45 a bottle. But at that price, I thought, well, it's a good palate resetter. This is produced by the Cooley Distillery in Dundalk in Ireland. It would originally been by Watts in Derry, Londonderry, whatever you want to call it. And that's on the label. But it was all about marketing, really, wasn't it? Let's get stuck in. Now, this is bottled at 43%. This is what shocked and surprised me, ladies and gentlemen, trying this again. This is so thick on the nose. Honey. All I could say, if I just said honey, that pretty much covers this. But I'm going to go slightly further and say honey, golden syrup, orange, yes. Yeah, the vanillas, the caramels are there. It's ex-bourbon maturation. But it's honey is the big hitter here. And it's so rich and so thick. And so's the palate. Rich, thick, hot, sweet and sour arrival. Honey once again. Yes, the vanillas, the caramels, the golden syrup. All of it's still there. And it's so thick and rich and unctuous for 43% for £35 a bottle. And the finish is amazing. In that it's just like you're taking a big spoonful of honey, or honey, like a mixture of honey and golden syrup, because there's a little bit more sweetness to it than what a lot of honeys are, but it's just so natural tasting. I think this is fantastic. I genuinely do, for the price. It's double. Here's one of the things about Cooley Distillery. Only double distill. They actually, I read somewhere one time that they actually feel that triple distillation actually strips flavour out. So they only double distill in Cooley. And maybe there's something in it. Maybe there's something to that. Maybe that's why it's so rich. But either way, I think this is fantastic. So, I'll just move on. Moving on, and will I replace it? Yes, of course I'll replace it. As a matter of fact, at £35, which I paid for it, if I can get it, and I actually know where I can get it for that price, I'll buy another couple of bottles while I can still get it at that price. I recommend trying this if you see it anywhere. This is cheap. This is one of those cheap Irish bar fodder whiskies. So if you're in Ireland or wherever you see it, perhaps, I would give it a go. I just think it punches way, way above its weight. So what would I recommend then as an alternative? Well, if you wish to stay within Irish whiskey, I would go with the Bushmills 10-year-old. Similar honey, those sorts of notes, but the Bushmills 10 I would suggest lighter on the palate. This is thicker. This Tyrconnell is a much thicker product altogether. But the Bushmills 10 to me actually represents Bushmills well. What I'm going to suggest more so is, especially to those Irish whiskey drinkers who will only drink Irish whiskey, is feel around in Speyside in Scotland. I'm going to throw a few bottles up here. I'm not going to round them all off to you because I can't remember what I'm going to put up. And every one of them, I would suggest, if you like Tyrconnell Single Malt or Bushmills or that sort of lighter, sweeter, honeysuckle kind of whiskey, any of these ones from Speyside are, right up there for me for that sort of style. Don't be scared of it. Give it a go. They're not peated. Not all Scotch whiskey is. Remember that. So if you like this Tyrconnell, that honey note, the honey thing, then any one of these here would be a good suggestion, in my opinion. So there you go. I'll leave it there and say thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much to my patrons. Should anybody wish to join that group and maybe show this channel a little more support, you can do so by looking in the details in the video description below. I'll be back next time, something a little different. Until then, look after yourselves. Here's to your good health. Cheers.
Hey, thanks for watching my video. Please click and subscribe to be notified of further content.